So today we're going to do a little bit of a heart opening practice and keep it fairly gentle. So I forgot to mention earlier, if you haven't gotten this yet, go get your rolled towel with 3 rubber bands. So it's just like a kitchen towel with 3 rubber bands, so that we have that for our self massage that we're going to do. Okay, and then sit up straight and tall. And take a moment to drop your awareness down into your bones. As Paula just said, let's start with a little bit of a gratitude here. So as your body gets into a place of stability, let's first start with whatever washes through you. So something, someone that you are grateful for in this moment. Let's move towards something that we are very grateful for in our physical well being. So, something that's working well for you and your body. Just offering appreciations. Something that's working well for you in your mind. Maybe your thought processes have been working well about something specific, or just the gratitude for being able to have clear thinking, clear mind, healthy mind. Whatever specific thing you are grateful for. Just let yourself be washed in that gratitude, appreciation. Something of the heart or of the spirit, however you perceive the realms of kind of the untouchable. See if you can offer some deep gratitude for whatever it is that's coming. Some awareness down into the pelvis. Feel that sense of spacious spine, crown over tail. Let your eyes rest behind your lids. See if you can soften your face, releasing any tension where it might be creeping. And now let's have some gratitude as we breathe in the ease of our breathing, the fresh new energy, the prana, the life force that we take in, and the ability to let go and release what's ready to come out on your exhale. Enjoy the freshness of the breath, with the clean slate vibe of the breath. When you are ready, place your palms together at your heart and let's bow into the center of your heart. Offer that sense of appreciation and gratitude, but also send a little information down into the heart of what your intention, and then a little bit of information from your heart up to your mind. Make that connection. Head, hands, and heart. Your intentions are what we think, what we feel, and what we do. Release your hands. And let's find our way onto our back. Okay, so we're going to start in just a moment with this, but first let's just warm up a little bit before. So have your little roll towel handy. Okay, so come down onto your mat. Stretch your arms overhead if it's comfy for you to do that. Stretch your legs straight. And just find that big full body stretch. We were sitting for a bit, so enjoy stretching your legs. You can roll your ankles while you're here, maybe spin them a couple directions. Then bring your knees into your chest, rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. And then again, arms and legs wide out. Stretch your limbs, reach into your fingers and your toes. And exhale, knees into your chest, pick up your head. Release your head down, stretch your body straight. Then reach the right side a little bit more spaciously, and then the left side a little more spaciously. And then stretch your limbs out all together, spread them wide. Exhale again, knees into your chest, head comes up. Release your head down onto the ground. Let's circle the knees, just feel into the hips, feel into the low back, circle the other way. And then open the knees away from the center and back in. Just feeling into that range of motion that's available. And then come into happy baby pose. Grab your feet and or the backs of your knees, and we're going to rock a little bit left and right. Just feeling that sense of ease come over your body. Let your back relax here a little bit. And then let's rock a little bit all the way to the left and stretch your left leg straight. See if you can still hold your foot or your leg somewhere. And then come back and stretch your right leg straight, tipping over to the right. Left knee is bent. And then coming back again. Starfish out your body. Big stretch outward. Exhale, knees into your chest. Head comes up. Put your feet down onto the ground, put your head down onto the ground, put your arms out to the side. Feet on the edges of your mat and rock a little bit, swishing windshield wipers of your knees left and right. Just kind of getting into a little bit of twisting. And now I think our spine is warmed up enough for our roll towel. So we're going to take the roll towel. I think all of you have done this with me multiple times, but just in case, I'll describe it again. We're going to take the roll towel and start right on the top edge of your shoulder blades. So this may feel like nothing at first, but it really is a lot of something good. Feet are bent, feet on the floor, or knees are bent, feet on the floor. Now, one of the things that happens a lot in this posture, people tend to move their pelvis in a pelvic tilt. Try to keep your pelvis as neutral as possible. And we're going to push off our feet to rock our spine top to bottom. So north-south rocking instead of left-right or east-west rocking. And then once you got the rocking scenario going on, we're going to do different arm positions. So first, our hands are right over our chest with our palms facing our chest. Okay, and just rock. So there's a little bit of hydrating massage with that bolster underneath your shoulder blades. And then we're going to bring the arms over your head. And same, we're just rocking, pushing off the feet, trying to keep the pelvis nice and neutral instead of just moving the pelvis and not the spine. And then back up with your arms, and then you're going to turn your head to the right and bring your arms over to the right. Keep rocking. And then back up and bring your arms over to the left, turn your head to the left. Rock and then rock. And then hands back up, and we're going to scoot down a little bit. So a little bit lower, and this is how you go, down the whole spine. Okay, so hands over chest. Stay as long as you want, there's no rush. And then arms overhead when you feel ready. Breathing deeply. And the arms come back up and go to each side when you're ready. So the key, you don't want your legs to get super fatigued. So try to be as passive through the need to use your muscles for this rocking as much as you can. And then, each time just move the bolster down your back. Now, I've been asked Wouldn't this be better to do with a foam roller? And the answer is most definitely no. Okay, so the softness of the towel is really necessary. You can experiment with a teeny bit of a bigger towel, a teeny smaller towel, and just kind of see what feels best for your spine. But bigger and harder is not necessarily better. You want there to be some softness so that you have a little give underneath your spine, your vertebrae. So what this does, you have a lot of little muscles that attach one vertebrae to the next. Your multifidus is one group of those muscles. And you also have a lot of little tendons and little ligaments. Ligaments connect one bone to the next bone. Tendons connect muscles to the bones. So this softens and hydrates a lot of the fascia and the ligaments and the tendons and the muscles that are all along your spine. So if you tend to get very rigid through the day because you're staring in front of a computer or doing something that's a very static hold of your spine, especially if that hold tends to slump you or round you, this is a great thing to do. It's also, besides all the the anatomical support that it's giving your vertebrae, the massaging of these parts of your spine along with the rocking is a very soothing thing for your nervous system. It brings us into that parasympathetic drive where healing and rest and recovery happen. So never underestimate the power of something simple like this to nurture and heal you. How are you breathing? Okay, so are you able to have a sense of fullness of the breath? Can your arms do the movements without having to be so strained and stuck and tight? Have a looseness about you as much as you can. Try to master the art of breathing well and of pushing off your feet where you're just rocking the spine and not getting caught up with pelvic tilting. This is hard for a lot of people. Some people get it very quickly and very easily. Other people really struggle to figure out the movement of this. And sometimes if you struggle with it, you can put your feet against a wall, like the corner, like the baseboard. Sometimes having a little feedback on your feet while they're flexed instead of feet on the ground can be a nice way of helping you. There's all sorts of little tricks. So if you do struggle with this, please let me know and I will give you some feedback. This is the hard thing about being online is if I could see you, then I would have instant feedback for you. Now, when you get to your low back, I'm not quite there yet, but maybe you are, you might find that because of the natural curves of your body, that you lose it, that there's no longer any pressure against your vertebrae. And when that moment happens, you can bend your knees and bring your knees to your chest and just rock a little bit, still top bottom. You can go side to side in your rocking as well. So whatever kind of helps you just feel like you're getting a little bit of a massage, a little bit of nurturing into that low back. So you might, take a couple of passes into a couple of different places in the lumbar spine where this can feel good. Generally speaking, it's not a good idea to put something directly under your low back, like a foam roller or something. It's just too much for the part of the spine that has no other bones supporting it, such as your rib cage or your pelvis. But with this small roll towel that's soft, it won't be difficult for your spine. All right, so when you feel like and you might still be up in your chest, so there's no rush. But when you do get to your sacrum, you might feel that the top of your sacrum, the juncture where your low back and sacrum meet, it might feel good to keep your knees in and rock on that little spot, kind of like a little traction. But I would encourage you when you get to that spot, if you are still holding your knees, to eventually put your knees down and start the process like we did before and see the difference between what that juncture spot between L5 and S1 feels like with your knees up as well as with your feet down. Okay. Now, even though when you get to the sacrum and your feet are down and you're rocking, you may feel like, what's the point of moving my arms? Because it doesn't have that same impact on the angles of your spine, but it does still a little bit. So even though it doesn't have as strong as an impact as it did when you were in your thoracic spine, still do the 3 positions of arms over chest, arms over head, and then arms and head turning from side and then to the other side. How is your breath? Are you finding a spot that you're like, oh, that feels really good to be there? Feel free to hang out. You could do this for a very long time. We're kind of taking our time today in our practice in general. So not worried about time, but generally speaking, you can spend a lot more time than we're spending here if you so desire. I try to do this at least a couple of times a week. I think Maggie, you probably do this. You do this pretty much every time I see you on the screen in the beginning of class. So while I'm talking in the little Dharma, Maggie's often doing this. So that's something you could do, is to just kind of work it in to parts of your day. It doesn't have to be in your yoga practice. You can do this when you're waiting for the next round of something you have to do on the stove when you're cooking. You can just get down on the ground for a few minutes. You can do this while you're listening to a podcast or having a conversation or watching something on TV. Normally I would say be very mindful and just do it by itself, which of course is the best way. But if it's the matter of doing it or not doing it, feel free to add it to other rhythms of your day if it fits in. Okay, now once you are done, and there's no rush to be done, but once you're done, pause for a moment, put your legs straight, and just feel a bit of Shavasana. You can shake your legs like internal and external, so your thighs kind of turn in, turn out, and just shake your legs. Let your knees soften, any tension that creeped into your legs for the effort of that. And then melt and just notice how your spine feels. Are you a little more alive in these places than you sometimes feel? Now, if you're still doing it, you just catch up to me when you're done. Please don't rush. Okay, but if you are done, go ahead and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so as you find all fours, notice if cat-cow feels any different than it sometimes does. Feel free to stay in the rounded spine for a moment and kind of dangle your head. Feel free to move more quickly, whatever feels good. And we're breathing, very much breathing. All right, and then wag the tail. Move your spine any way you want. Let your neck and your spine, your shoulder blades, your pelvis, everything gets as free as it possibly can be. So any movement pattern that you want to do. All right, find your way down onto your mat into child's pose. Walk the hands forward. Keep a sense of softness in your skull. Relax your head. A breath in, a breath out. Okay, now while we're here, move forward a little bit if you need to. We're going to bend our elbows, palms come together, and move your thumbs toward your spine. Now, sometimes when I do this pose, I prefer to put my elbows up on blocks to do this. So, kind of find whatever way feels good to you. Stretch open your triceps. Full breaths here. And then release that, stretch your body. We're going to walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. Open up the left rib cage. Feel the weight of your pelvis drop down. Feel the weight of your head. Soften your neck. Breathe into all the nooks and crannies you can find, from your fingers all the way down your arm, armpit, rib cage, low back to your sit bone. And then find your way over to the other side, feeling a sense of weight come into your pelvis. Your neck is relaxed. Spread open your fingers. Feel that spacious awakening inside of your body, from fingers to sit bone. Okay, coming back to center, up again onto all fours, swish about your spine. Okay, let's do some rib cage rolling. So stick yourself inside a paper towel tube, and we're going to move your rib cage over to the left, up to the sky, over to the right, down to the bottom. So be inside the tube. Try to rush your body against the whole inner rim of the tube that you're in. Make sure you're breathing, and then go a couple of movements in the other direction. Let your spine, your rib cage feel all that mobility that you have. All right, and then cat and the cow. Or I guess I should say a cow and a cat. Okay, and then we're going to lift your one arm up either way, stretch up to the sky, exhale, slide that shoulder down and twist. Breathe into the ribs as best as you can. Let your neck and head relax. Inhale, bring that arm halfway out. Okay, so we're facing the ground. Drop back towards child's pose. Stretch the outside of your shoulder capsule. Collarbones widen, your chest is facing the ground. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift that arm back up to the sky. Hand down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. So other side, lifting the arm up. Exhale, sliding that arm underneath. Gaze toward the ground, let your neck be relaxed and soft. A breath in and a breath out. Keep melting the base of the skull as best as you can. And then we're going to come out of it, drop your chest toward the floor so our arm doesn't come all the way out. It's just a little bit pulled out of that posture. So the collarbones are wide, chest facing the ground. Release your sit bones toward the heels. Breathe into the outside of this shoulder. All right, and then inhale, reach that arm all the way back up. Hand comes down onto the ground. Curl your toes under and find dog pose. All right, so now we get to get our legs involved in our awareness. So let's feel into the pedaling. Go slow. Drop one heel, let it sink. Then drop the other heel and let it sink. Take your time to really feel into what's happening in your body, what's awakening and opening in your body. Breathe with your mobility. And then feel that rooting of the four corners of your hands and the spreading of the toe bones. Feel that yielding melt through your skull. Give your weight to the earth and then rebound, push off. So we need to drop in and then push off. Lengthen through your spine. The head is soft and relaxed. Bring the breath fully into the rib cage. Walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Let the backs of the whole body, really, the backs of the legs open up. And we're going to interlace our hands at the base of our skull. Tuck your chin toward your chest a little bit. Feel that back line of the body open. Okay, release back down. If you like to use blocks, you can put them under your hands for a half lift. Thigh bones move back so our legs are straight, our spine is straight. Reach into the four corners of your feet and feel the joy of spreading out your bones and reaching into the earth and then lifting your thigh bones away from the earth. So root down and rise up. How's the breath? And then exhale and release. Relax your head, bend your knees, coming up to stand. Now we've been down for a while, so if you're at all dizzy, give yourself a moment to accommodate. And then inhale, open up, lean back a little bit, feel that beautiful open chest. Let's cactus, open the arms, hug the back body, and then release your hands down. Swoop them up again. Big breath, press your hands straight out to the side. Spread your fingers, drop your shoulders, lift your fingers toward the sky. Turn the eyes of the elbows up toward the sky. Lift your left ear, and then lift your right ear. Lift your right or left again, and your right again. And now do some big circles with your, not big circles, kind of small circles actually. Fingers are still pointing straight up. So just imagine that you're painting hands on the walls next to you in some circles. Start to make those circles a little bit bigger, whatever's comfortable for your shoulders. And then release your hands down. Give your hands a good shake. Big breath in, rise up, lean back. And then exhale and flow forward, relax your neck. If it's comfortable here, actually stand back up. It'll be more comfortable to do it in this position. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Open your chest. Now, feel the collarbones open, the shoulder blades move toward the spine. Soften your neck, bobble your head a little bit so your neck is nice and soft. Bend your knees and let your arms move away from your back. Unlock the elbows if you can. Bobble the head and let it relax. And then release your arms. Grab onto your elbows and just shimmy your ribs away from your pelvis. Bobble your head. How's your breath? Inhale for a halfway lift. Gather up the spine, stretch it out. Exhale and melt again. Let your head fully release. Left foot comes back, right foot is forward, lunging. Extend through the spine here. Find your breath. Move with breath to bend and straighten your front knee. Feel free to, when you straighten your leg a little bit, feel free to lift your toes and tuck your chin. And then when you bend your knees, feel free to open the chest and stretch open your collarbones. Hands on blocks gives you a lot of support. You can have your hands as high as the high height of your blocks or as low as the low height of your blocks. What feels best to you? Next time you come into the lunge, put your knee down, uncurl your toes, stretch open, try not to fall. So we're using some support as we reach and extend through our hip flexor of that back leg. And then if you're ready, reach your arms up to the sky as well. Press your front foot. Notice if your knee wants to pull out to the side, root down into the big toe mound. Feel the heel move into the earth. Support your back with your core. Keep your neck neutral. And then release your hands down onto the ground. Lift your back knee up off the ground. A full lunge now, a crescent lunge. Arms do not have to be in the air. They can be out to the sides, wherever feels good for you. Find your breath. We're going to cactus open your arms if you can, and then interlace your hands behind your back. Open the chest. If this is too crunchy in your low back, lean forward a little bit. Make sure you're protecting your lumbar spine. Bend your back knee. And then release and relax your hands. Back foot comes forward, fold, let your neck relax, bend your knees as much as you want. Step your left foot forward, right foot back. Coming to a lunge on this side. Finding your breath. Move when you're ready. Straightening the front knee, pulling the toes up, chin tucks in. Bending the knee, opening the heart, collarbones broad. How is your breath? Guide with your breath. Try to be grateful for all the sensations that you're feeling. Be present for the embodiments. What feels good? As you're ready, place your back knee onto the ground. Uncurl your toes. If your knee can be supported, you can always put a blanket underneath your knee. Lift open through your chest. Feel those hip flexors expand in that back leg. Breathe into your hip flexors. Check in with your low back. How do you support? So keep your front knee in line with your ankle instead of out to the side. Press your front foot down into the ground. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other. When you're ready, rise up with your arms when you feel that level of support with your legs. Still opening through the heart, through the hip flexors. Breathing well. And then hands down, lift back knee up, ground into your lunge. Feel your legs coming on up to stand in a crescent lunge. Bring arms anywhere that supports. Notice your low back. See if you cannot just fall forward with your rib cage, knit the ribs in a bit, lift the pubic bones, bend the back knee a bit if you need to. And then when you're ready, cactus, open the arms, give a good squeeze in that back body, interlace your hands the opposite way behind your back, open your chest. All right, so full breath here. And then relax, hands down onto the ground, back to dog pose. So see if you can feel into that length and space. A big breath here, melt the head, dangle it a bit, bobble it. Feel the yield and the push and the reach. Come forward into a plank, nice and stable through your body. Integrate, feel those rib cage muscles engaged, drop your shoulder blades away from the ears, keep the collarbones broad as you hug the hands toward each other. Lower yourself to the ground. Roll the shoulder blades a couple times, up toward ears, up towards sky, and back. Inhale to a cobra pose when you feel ready. Exhale and melt to come back down. And put your right forearm in front of you. Reach back and grab your left foot. If this is too hard, we'll grab a strap. Just opening up the quadriceps. You can keep your torso down, head resting on your arm, or you can lift your chest up a little bit, whichever feels nice to do. Opening up your quads, tailbone descends, pubic bone lifts. And then release that foot, change sides. Left forearm crosses into the front of you. You can put your head on it, or you can be more upright with your chest. Try to keep your right knee in line with your right hip. Grab onto that ankle, the front of the ankle. Stretch your quads, pubic bone toward the navel and tailbone toward the knees. All right, relax and melt. Come back up onto all fours. Move the spine about. Move back to a dog pose. We're going to take our feet, walk them forward wide on the mat. You can turn sideways if you want on the mat. A big wide squat. Let's just get into the legs a little bit. So you can rock a little bit to and fro. All right, open up the inner thighs, elbows inside your knees, stretch your heart open. Ground the four corners of your feet. All right, come all the way up to standing star. If you're a little dizzy, squeeze to the midline. You can take your hands to the center, tuck your chin. And heel toe your feet back toward the center. Turn to the front of your mat again. Take a breath in, arms coming up. Trace down through the center of the body. We're going to stand on your right foot. Grab your left foot. Find your breath. Now your pose might be just right here. Your pose might reach that right arm up a little bit and tip forward into dancer. Try not to let the knee come out to the side. Keep the knee in line with the hip as you tip forward. You can, the knee that you're standing on, bend it a little bit if you want to, so that you have that sense of support. Square your hips and shoulders toward the mat. All right, come back up. Bring your knee high and lift it up. Reach the arms to the sky, stretch that foot out there, and then slowly let that foot find the ground. Second side, grab onto your foot, try to keep the knee in line. So we're standing on your left leg. Try not to let the left hip pike out. Hug the left hip in, descend the right knee down. Feel the stability of your pelvis. Reach that arm up. We're squaring our chest and our hips to the front. So we don't want to turn to the side with our pelvis and shoulders and ribs. Keep them facing forward. Tip forward any bit you want to. Your pose might just stay standing with a quad stretch. You can always hold the wall or a piece of furniture if you need some support. Okay. Find your dancer, the neck is relaxed, the breath is moving. And then come back up, bring your knee into your chest, give it a hug. Arms up, we're gonna stretch that leg out and slowly lower it down. Big breaths. Exhale, relax your head, soften the nose. A halfway lift. Relax. We're gonna come down onto your back. A full bridge pose here. So feet onto the ground. When we lift up your pelvis, you want to feel that your feet are the roots of your posture. Come on up onto the tops of your shoulders. Keep your neck neutral. You can interlace your hands underneath you or have your arms pressing down into the ground. Keep your neck soft. So you don't want to push your neck into the ground. Lift your chin toward your chest, but keep a little weight into the back of your head. Root into the four corners of your feet. Big breath into the chest. All right, and melt and fold to come back down. Relax your skull. Feet are wide on the mat. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. Okay, grab a blanket. And you can do this with 2 blankets if you're feeling very open, kind of mirroring the small towel. We're not going to roll and rock, but we're going to have a back bend over a rolled blanket. So again, no foam rollers, something soft. Okay? If you're feeling very open, you can roll one blanket inside the other. If you need support for your head, you can take a block for underneath your head. We're going to do this in 3 different positions. So we're going to start with this rolled blanket underneath the more top edge of our shoulder blades. So find a good nook for that blanket to be. And again, if you need support under your head, take support under your head. Choose pathways for your arms and legs. Your legs can be straight, your legs can be bent, your arms can be overhead, your arms can be cactused or straight out like a T, or you can even cross your arms. If it's a little challenging through your shoulders, you can hold on to your opposite shoulder with your opposite hand, crossing your elbows. You can also grab onto your elbows with your hands and stretch your arms overhead. So find what works for your body. Take some beautiful breaths into the open ribs, the open armpits, the open chest. Let your head begin to relax and melt. All right, after another breath or two, we're going to move this down so that we have the bolster blanket underneath kind of the bottom edge of our shoulder blade. Do not go into the part of your spine that does not have ribs to help. So you want to feel that you're still under the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, that the ribs are there. Notice this is a little bit more, this is closer to where your diaphragm attaches. So let's feel the breath now when you're in this position. Again, any position that I said before with the arms and any position with the legs. Breathe well. Okay, so find the pathway of breath. Keep your neck and head as relaxed as you can. Big belly breath in. Full exhale. Let the diaphragm stretch and move. Opening up the thoracic spine in these 2 positions, so helpful to counter a lot of that forward folding posture we have in front of computers and steering wheels and even when we're sleeping. Okay, now for the 3rd position, we're going to skip the low back and we're going to bring the blanket underneath our sacrum, under our pelvis. And then you're going to stretch both your legs straight. Of course, if you are vulnerable here and you want to just stretch one leg at a time, you can bend the other knee. And just like when we did the positions with the arms before, maybe start with your hands right over your chest and then see what it feels like to stretch them over your head. Big breath into your hip flexors. Feel that your spine can open all the way down to your sacrum. Beautiful breaths all the way to the pelvis. All right, and then relax your arms down, bend your knees. We're going to stay on the bolster, the blankets for a moment, and bring your knees toward your chest. So a little bit of traction. Melt your neck and shoulders. Breathe well. If you want to straighten your legs straight up toward the sky or keep your knees bent, whichever position feels the best for your back. Come off of your bolster down onto your ground. Breathe well here. I'm going to lift the hips up and scoot them over to the right and bring your knees up and drop them over to the left. So a full spinal twist. Turn your head. Them up. Scoot your hips over to the other side and drop your knees down. Turn your head in the opposition of your knees. Breathing well. Come on up. Now you can transition into Shavasana here. We haven't done much for your hips today, so if you'd like to squeeze in a little reverse pigeon pose before Shavasana, by all means. And once you are comfortable, once you settle, decide whether what kind of support you need. Do you need something under your knees? Sometimes after some back bending postures, it feels good to have something under your knees. Sometimes it feels good to be flat on the ground. You can even go so far as to put your calves up on a piece of furniture like a couch or something. So you decide what feels right for your Shavasana as you get ready to be there. If you need warmth, cover yourself with a blanket, put your socks back on, put your eye pillow on if you have an eye pillow. Get your cozy on for Shavasana. So let your body start to melt. Shavasana is a beautiful gift that we're given in our day for conscious rest, rejuvenation. Bring yourself into your breath. As you begin to feel ready, find which way you want to transition. And the movements of your toes to the more fully, you might want to bring your knees into your chest and just hug, or even go deeper for a happy baby pose. You can rock a little bit from side to side, however feels good. Actually finding the way to your side. Take your time. As you feel ready, you can bring yourself upright, rolling onto your side and finding a comfortable seat. Place your hands together. Feel the uplift of your heart. As we offer our energy, maybe we can send love to someone very close to us, but then also share some of our energy with those in Turkey and Syria. Struggling from the devastation of a huge disaster like this earthquake. Bring your uplifted heart, send some positivity, some hope, just strength. Namaste. Blessings, everyone.